Hi everybody, in this video I will tell you a lot of things about language learning. What are the pieces, what are the parts of picking up a language, how you should start, and what are the best ways. So first we talk about speaking, how to speak the language, what are the first steps, and why reading is important, what reading plays in a language learning. And the third one will be the grammar. I think grammar is the skeleton, the basic of speaking, because if you don't know the grammar, you will mix up everything. So if you compare the English language with your native language, you will feel that it has nothing to do with that. Especially my native language is Hungarian, and Hungarian has nothing to do with the English language. In my native language, there are just 3 words, according to my best knowledge, which is equal in the English language, and there is one very special word, which is couch, which is the bus which people use for longer journeys, so not within the city, just between or among the cities, you use coach service, and this word has pure Hungarian origin. In a nutshell, because there is a small settlement west of Budapest, 30 kilometers, in a small village, its name is Koch. The spelling is K-O-T-S. So this is a small village, and it used to be a great village for, especially for horse-drawn carriages, the manufacturing for horse-drawn carriages, because hundreds of years ago, horse-drawn carriages was the only way for traveling long distances. And in this village, the manufacturing of these carriages was so high that traveled people buy these carriages, and even to Germany, to France, even to Great Britain. And there, English-speaking people say, oh, it's horse-drawn carriage, where is it from? And people say it's from Koch, Hungary. And they heard Koch, and they tried to spell it coach, and they used it for long distances, long distance traveling, and it's developed into, because the appearance of the industrial revolution, and people started to use cars and buses after that, and the name stuck, coach, but it has Hungarian origin. And there are other, for example, Biro pen. If you read by Biro pen, it is because of Laszlo Biro, who is the inventor of the ballpoint pen after the Second World War. I think it was invented after the Second World War. So not too many Hungarian words are in the English language. So it makes, for us, for Hungarian people, learning English kind of difficult. So first we have to listen. Every single nation who wants to learn a new language, it starts with listening. And of course, you don't understand the word, what you should know to pick up some meaning or figure out how you shape the words, shape the letters, acquire some knowledge. Reading. You have to read, but if you read something you do not still understand, and if you see the word, you have to look it up in the dictionary. You look up the word in the dictionary, now you know the meaning, you add the words next to each other, and you see maybe you still don't understand the whole picture, the whole meaning of the sentence. So the third step is the grammar. So grammar is a dry thing. So if you learn grammar, it can be very boring and very monotonous. It can be understood, it needs time, but you have to create some system. I will tell you later on. So grammar is the third point. And the fourth is pronunciation. Pronunciation is crucial. I tell you one story. I was walking the street in Budapest. I was looking for a BMX store, the little bike from the United States. And I bumped into 3 guys. They were holding skateboards. And I thought that they should know something about the store, because I did not know the location of the store. And I asked them whether they knew where this BMX store was. And I asked the question, do you know the BMX store around here? It should be here somewhere, because I saw it on the map. And they looked at me, and they were from the United States, California, and they said, I'm sorry, we are from abroad, and we don't know anything about this area. And I kept repeating, I switched to English immediately, and I told them that I'm looking for a BMX store, and they did not understand, and they looked amazed what I was talking about, because did not understand BMX, because they say the XX. And I explained them the small bike from a country. You must know it because it is from California, United States. And they said, oh my God, it's BMX. Yes, BMX, but you said BMX. So it was small, slight difference. But they did not understand me, even though I was talking about the thing that it was from their country. So pronunciation is crucial because if you do not shape the word right, they might not understand you. It takes a lot of practice. You have to fake, you have to act out native speakers, and end of the day, you can resemble, you can resemble to those people who are native speakers, but of course, you will never get there. I will keep until the end of my life my Hungarian accent, even though it is not always tangible, but I try to strip my original Hungarian accent when I speak English. But of course, native speakers recognize immediately that I'm not from the United States. So this is about accent. And of course, British people have their own accent, or Australian people, or Canadian people, not to mention Scottish people or Irish people, very, very strong differences. But these people are native English speakers. So we talk about in details a little bit first about listening. So when you decide what language you want to learn, I think the first thing is curiosity and the reason why you want to learn a certain language. It can be because of you're interested in the culture. It can be because you like the appearance of those people who live in a certain country. For example, you like African people, you start to learn some African language, or Asian people, or American people, or any kind of language. So first, you have to build your interest towards the country, the nation, the culture, and the sound of the language. I told you in my previous videos, my reason why I started learning English because it was money. I wanted to work abroad and on the cruise ships. So this was my obvious reason why I started to learn English. A lot of people have that reason though. So, and how can you listen? Now we have this magical thing. We have this smartphone. And this is the thing that I'm recording this video with. So anyway, you have this smartphone, and now your smartphone is not a smartphone. It is your English language studio, because it is always with you. You never go anywhere unless you are under the shower, but everywhere you go with your smartphone. And if the memory is big enough to store audio files, you can listen to audio files all the way along, whatever you do. For example, you do some household chores, or you travel somewhere waiting for somebody. You just plug your ears in and listen. And okay, people tell me that if I don't understand, what should I do if I don't understand? So in an ideal case, if you listen to something, the best is if it is matched with the script. You should see what you hear, because if you hear and see at the same time, it is the most wonderful combination, because you see how that word is written down and you have a great chance to look this word up in the dictionary, and your smartphone can contain or can carry or can be uploaded a dictionary. It's very easy. It's for free, so you can carry your dictionary on your phone too. So you look up the word in the dictionary, you can keep in your notes in your phone, so you can look up the word, you can keep the word, you can listen to the word, you can read the word. So this cell phone is a great invention. I remember back then when I started 25 years ago, there was no smartphone. I carried around the Discman, the CD player, which can be placed in your pocket. And I went around with CD player in my pocket. I was listening to CDs and I was reading the script for that magazine while I went to work or on the way back from work. So I tried to take advantage of the time when I traveled on language learning. So it's great and gold mine time for language learning if you have to travel a long way, if you have to commute from A to B in the morning and after work. So it's a great time, gold mine. So the next one, when you listen, it is still very, very passive. After you can try to read. So now you heard how the words are shaped, and the next step is to listen to your own self. And when you listen to your own self, it is one of the strangest things on earth, because your sound is not you. It's who is he, who is she? Oh my God, it's not me. It's very, very strange, especially when you record your own voice. And again, if you write with a smartphone, you can record your own voice when you read out loud. article or part of a book or just a simple text. It's very important to listen to yourself, and you will recognize how good your pronunciation is. It's a great way for development. And when you listen to when you listen yourself and you hear yourself, it can be terrible, and you erase it from your phone forever, and you start again, and it will be better and better. But the great thing, if you have your own room, you can be isolated, close the door, nobody can listen, nobody can hear what you're talking about, how you pronounce word, because it can be embarrassing if somebody else is listening to you. So the best way is to be isolated completely and read out loud. But be careful, not always the same things. I'll say exactly the opposite. Be careful. Try to read always the same things, because if you read always different things, you don't remember anything. And the most important thing is to remember. And to remember something which is useful is almost impossible. What do you remember? You remember the funny things in your life. You remember which is great, which has a great influence on yourself, and you enjoy it very much. And you remember bad things. If you have some failures, or if you are embarrassed, if you are in a very, very strange situation, awkward situation, you remember very well. So unfortunately, our brain is designed for forgetting. But I have a good news for you. Maybe you remember a lot of things from advertisements. You remember a lot of things. We are surrounded by advertisement, and we know a lot of products, brands. And even though we never buy that brands, we still know the name of the brands. It means that our brain can store information without wanting to store the information. So the point is, if you repeat something, end of the day, your brain will memorize the information. So in ideal case, it can be a new word or a new expression, and you can remember for a longer period of time. How to boost this language knowledge more, or language learning more? You create a collection of sentences. But these sentences contain, in an ideal case, contain the word that you don't know. Underline the unknown word, and you keep writing down the sentence. Or you can make a flashcard from real paper. Flashcards, I know it's very laborious, it takes time, but this is the best way. This is a kind of old school way, learning a language, learning a new word, but never learn the word itself, just with the sentence together. It is very crucial, because you never use a word just itself, you always use it with a sentence. So never learn a word just itself. When you read something and you don't understand the word, a lot of people say that, oh, it doesn't matter. With time, with the context, you will find out the meaning of the word. My experience, not always. So I recommend you to look up the word in the dictionary, because every single word counts in a text. Maybe that word in the text can turn everything upside down. So I highly recommend you to be very demanding with yourself and look up all the unknown words in the dictionary, because it can help a lot in long term, and that sentence is your treasure, and you rewrite the sentence hundreds of times if you don't remember. Let's talk about the grammar a little bit. Grammar, for a lot of people, is very difficult, because it doesn't add up in your mind in one single piece. But if you create a system, if you learn one grammar structure at a time, this is very important, learn just one grammar structure at a time, but fully, and you read the explanation first, after you see a lot of sample sentences, and you repeat the grammar until it becomes your blood, it becomes your flesh, it is under your skin. And when you learn that small grammar piece after you go to the next one. And you have to keep repeating the previous one. But it is just a chest of drawers. Just the drawers. Because in the chest of drawers, you use a lot of drawers, and you imagine grammar just like that. Every single drawer has a little sign, a little label on it, and it's written the name of the grammar. For example, the present simple. People say that this is the simplest grammar or the simplest tense. It's not true, because it can be very difficult as well. But anyway, present simple tense usually is the first brick in the wall. It is the first step when you learn a language. Okay, after the alphabet and after learning some very, very core basics. But if you want to create the first sentence, it will have a verb in it. And if you say a verb, it is a tense, because there is no tense without verb and no sentence without verb. So that's why tenses are very, very important. So it can be the label on the first drawers, on in chest of drawers, and this is the first brick in the wall. And after you go on with the next tense and the next and the next tense, it is kind of time consuming, but learning a language, as I mentioned earlier, it's a lifelong quest. It is not a one-day thing. Okay, when you learn a grammar, there are rules. You learn the rules. You don't have to learn the rules because anybody will ask you these rules in the rest of your life. Nobody will ask you the rules, but you have to employ the rules. If you don't know why you say what you say, there is no guideline. There is no the road to go on. So there is nothing. There is no road sign in your way. So this is the reason why you have to know the rules. And the other very big part of grammar are the exceptions. So if something is outside the box, for example, the irregular verbs. So when you learn the irregular verbs, it's very boring because you have to learn one by one, but without knowing the shaping and the pronouncing of irregular verbs, you will never speak well English. And let's finish with the pronunciation. The pronunciation in English, it's very important because, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, if you pronounce something wrong, people will misunderstand you, or people will not understand you at all. So try to shape the word. After people said that, I try to be an example that as a non-native speaker, I can shape the words. So if I can shape English words, I think everybody can shape English words if they are English learners, because this channel is established, it's founded just to help people who are not native speakers. And very early on, try to decide whether you want to acquire the British accent or the American accent, because it's not just about the accent, it's also about the words. So there are a lot of words different in the United States than in Great Britain. And my next video will be about the differences about the British and the American accent, British words and American words. So I do hope that you will be with me in my next video. Thanks for watching.